Hi, guys. This is your boy Bass, and you're listening to episode 2 of Anime Degens. I'm here with the rest of the hosts, Tyler and Dan, and we're here to give you some laughs and updates about the anime world. In this episode, we'll be covering our first look anime, weekly rundown, an Akira review, and a new segment we'll explain a little bit later. Fellas, my life's been hectic this last week. How's it been going for y'all?
Well, I just been chilling today, vibing. I just woke up from a nap. I'm pretty excited about this second episode. What about you, Dan?
Awesome. Me too.
Yeah, I just got back from a nice little vacation. I was out in Utah snowboarding for the last 4 or 5 days. So excited to get back to home. Playing gave me a lot of time to watch and catch up on some anime. So excited to talk about some of it.
Oh yeah, I heard you
Sick.
wiped out a little bit up there.
Yeah, I had one digger that was pretty good, and my phone ended up calling 911 on me. So turn that feature off real quick.
Yeah, that would probably be unfortunate. The cops showing up while you're out there trying to have fun.
Yeah, at least they call it. If I didn't have headphones in, they would have came right to the mountains. So
Yeah.
thankfully,
that
I
would've-
had a button.
That would have been an awkward conversation.
Oh man.
Awesome. Well, I guess we are going to get started with our first segment. This is a new one I'm really excited about. We're calling it the Showdown Throwdown. Basically, we're going to pitch a show that we enjoyed that the other two hosts haven't seen, and we're going to try and convince them to watch it. So, Bass, you want to get us going on that?
Sure. I'll go ahead and start. So my show that I'm going to try to convince you guys to watch is Doctor Stone. This came
Okay.
out summer 2019, along with a lot of other really good shows like Fire Force and Vinland Saga. And honestly, I've watched Fire Force and I think it holds up to it. Don't know why as many people haven't watched it, but it is actually a really good show. So to start, it is a shonen, um, but I wouldn't say like the height of the plot is really in the fighting. The time in betweens and preparing for the fights is kind of what keeps me on the edge of the seat and keeps me coming back to it. But to give you guys some idea about the actual plot. So the story starts in the 21st century, but after a random incident, everybody gets turned to stone. Miraculously, our super genius and main character, Sinku, was able to break out of this petrification after an extended amount of time, a few thousand years is what I'll say. But he finds out that the rest of the human population is still in these stones. So, he's in a post-apocalyptic world, pretty much in the middle of a forest, and he has to figure out how to take care of his basic needs, shelter, food, water, clothes, right? So he uses his super genius brain to do that, but then after that he's like, okay, I can't live on my own, and he wants to start rebuilding civilization. So he wakes up some of his friends and some of people who he thinks is going to be useless. I mean, useful. Excuse me. And-
Plot twist: they are actually useless.
Spoiler alert, they are useless.
useless. But some of these people that he's woken up are good, but others don't want to proceed about the human repopulation the same way he does. I'm gonna keep that part vague because it's a big part, but what ends up happening is there's two schools of thought. They break off into two different tribes. One is more centered around Sengoku's style of living life and figuring out the problems, which is all brains. And then the other tribe is more about bronze. You know what I'm saying? So there's a little culture battle going on up here in the world between the leftover humans. And so Sengu starts a technological arms race to battle the bronze of the other tribe. What I really liked about this, it was different than pretty much every other shonen. I've watched a lot of shonen, and it was very different from anything I'd ever watched in that genre. So what everybody's usually curious about is the animation, the world building, and the pacing is really really good. I'd say after episode 2 or 3, it really really picks up and kind of locks you in a little bit. The thing that's really cool when Senku is like making new technology to fight or to help them live an easier life, save time, all of the scientific concepts, theories, principles used in the show are actually factual. So there's not really any like magic or like a power system. He's just figuring out how he can use the world around him to make things that were in the 21st century. So it's pretty much like a speed run of technology from the Stone Age to like 2020. It's pretty dope. It's pretty dope. And what kind of keeps me going is like, say I need to make like a pouch for my protein shake here, right? It's made out of cardboard, but there's lining for the cardboard on the outside and inside. So he would have to make that too. There's a bottle cap, so he'd have to make plastic, figure out how to shape it. So out of one problem, it creates like 5 or 6 for him, and it kind of follows him through that and how to do that. And it's cool to see him figure that out. And it's kind of like a little bit of like a educational and it's entertainment. So it's pretty cool that way. And there's also some great voice actors like Subaru from ReZero / Arthur Boyle from Fire Force. He's the main character. You got Senku's best friend, who is voiced by Makoto Furukawa, who is Saitama from One Punch Man. And then you got one of their friend girls, who is voiced by uh, Manami Humakura. Sorry for the pronunciations. Oops.
Friend girl. Friend girl. Can
Friend
you
girl.
elaborate what a friend girl is?
It's just a girl that's his friend girl. That's what I call him.
Waifu.
Who is actually also Brandish from Fairy Tail. So the voice acting is A1, animation's A1, the world building's really good. And if you're into that, into manga, the manga's already done. So if you want to read ahead and if you get really enticed, it's really good. But hey, that's it for my little sales pitch. I hope y'all liked it. I hope y'all check it out, man. What's your first thoughts?
I'm just trying to figure out like how he gets his hair to stay like that, honestly.
So the first thing he does is make hair gel.
Nice.
But yeah, that's it for me. Anything you guys thought that I didn't explain well or have any questions about it?
So this might be very important to some of our listeners, definitely not me. Is this friend girl, is she up to anime drawing critique of some of our other favorite shows?
She's not a baddie.
Not a baddie?
She's decent, but she ain't no baddie. She no Robin or anything like that.
No baddies in this show?
There's some baddies. She just not one of them.
Right.
You know
She's
what I'm
not a
saying?
waifu contender.
If you like anime titties, there's something in there for you too.
Oh, okay. We're definitely watching this next week, Dan.
Yeah, I might have to give it a go, see what it's about.
All right. I think Tyler, you're next.
Yeah. I'll take it. All right. I guess it's my time to shine. I'm gonna try to convince the Shonen boys, Dan and Bass here, as well as you folks listening out there, to take
he's
the
throwing you in
time.
here with me.
Yeah.
Bro, I just watched a romance mecha. Leave me alone.
I'm gonna try to convince them. I'm gonna try to convince them to actually take the time and watch a show called ReZero, Starting Life in Another World. Now, to start
Isekai.
out, in Isekai. Now to start out with the basics, this show is an Isekai, like Dan said. That came out in 2016, so it's a little older. It has 2 seasons for a total of 50 episodes. So you can actually binge watch this in a single weekend if you wanted to, if you're dedicated. I probably couldn't do 50 no more. Now you're probably wondering what it's about. Well, it's about Subaru Natsuki, a teenage otaku who gets sent to a fantasy world with nothing but a bag of groceries and a cell phone. Naturally, as an otaku, he's super excited to have been sent to another world, his own isekai. Who don't love that? Yeah.
So his name is Subaru.
Subaru.
I have a Subaru in my driveway. I'm a big fan of it. So this is gaining some traction for me.
Yeah, Subaru Natsuki. He's just like us. He's an otaku, you know. So just keep that in mind.
Whoa. Don't put us in that category. That's like the deep end. Like, we have lives.
Yeah. Well, he doesn't. He's a teenage. That's all he does. He just fantasizes about isekai, going to another world. Well, he got transported to one. Now he's in
his
one.
Wish. He got his wish.
Good for him, honestly.
So now he's in this other world. But sadly, he finds out that he doesn't have any special abilities or powers. That's Sag, big Sag right there. He runs into a group of thugs who proceeds to beat the shit out of him. When out of nowhere, a beautiful half-elf girl shows up and saves him.
Nice.
But shortly after that, Subaru ends up dying. Yeah. The main character just died in the first episode. GG's. Show is over, right? Wrong. The good news is Subaru does have a special power. It's called Return by Death, which only activates when Subaru dies, of course. And how it works is that when Subaru dies, he travels back in time to the last checkpoint to essentially retry that part of his life to change it to a future in which he successfully completes the objective that he died trying to do while also staying alive. Because if he dies, he goes back to the same checkpoint until he moves to the next checkpoint. And I'll mention as well, it's nearly impossible for Subaru or us as the audience to know which objective that he encounters is checkpoint material. So it gets kind of a little bit confusing, honestly, but it's a very interesting uh, power, I guess you can say.
Okay.
Um,
So are these objectives like Dark Soul caliber? Like where you're gonna die a million times? Or is it like, oh shoot, I
it
hit the wrong button and the
depends.
boss killed me. I'm going back and trying again and finishing this time, you know?
It really depends. Sometimes certain situations it takes him a few more than a few tries to get past it, and which I also state that he does retain his memory of all these failures, so he doesn't lose his memory knowledge of what happened. He actually keeps
So
it.
it's literally like we're playing a video game.
Yeah, he's literally in a
Oh,
video game world,
okay.
basically.
Well, yeah. I mean, that's
Yeah,
Isekai 101, but I'm
yeah,
saying it's
yeah,
like, in a lot of them, if you die, you die.
yeah.
But
Right, right.
Well, he
the
thought he
fact
was gonna die, you know. So
that's
Yeah, he
so
wasn't
funny.
told he had the power or anything, so he can get into a
That's
Groundhog Day situation if he can't figure
yeah,
out what
that's what
his
I'm
actual
saying.
objective
but
is.
even though uh he died the first few times, whatever, he never knows when this power is gonna actually stop. So he can't like abuse it because we don't know nothing about it. We just know that he comes back to life. He figures out more about it as time goes on. Um and also it's notable to mention Subaru isn't a superhero that like wipes out everything with a couple punches. He is literally like he was in IRL world. He is an average otaku teen just living in the magical world, just trying to save his new friends that he encounters. So he's
Imagine getting
very
your own
basic and
like,
average.
imagine getting your own like world and being fodder in it.
Yeah, he literally looks the same.
This
Like he gets transported into his Jan sport, you know.
this is the
Uh,
least isekai I've ever heard. This isn't some overpowered, black-haired behemoth who all the women fall in love with, from what I can tell. So that's exciting.
yeah,
Because my
it's
issues with isekais, all the main characters are basically the same person every time.
well, Subaru gets his ass handed to him over and over and over.
Okay, okay,
So,
that sounds
um,
pretty interesting.
this
Yeah.
show always kept me on the edge of my seat just because it's a very difficult road where Subaru uses all his knowledge of his past experience and his return by death ability to outplay the stronger antagonists that he faces. And there are strong antagonists, and some antagonists aren't just like strong physical, magical wise, they are strong mentally. They outthink him, they are smarter than him, and he has to figure out how to move past those situations in order to save the people that he loves or
Okay,
learns to
I have a
love,
question.
etc.
So, is it only him that realizes that he's replaying this part of his life?
Nobody else keeps the when he dies and goes back in time, it resets the world
Okay,
to that
Okay.
just
point.
not
So
him.
nobody else knows
So
except for him.
he's essentially like everybody else's NPCs. This is kind of like overworld where it's just him there that he knows of.
Yeah, except
It's
he gains feelings for, most of these people that he's friends with. Why
yeah,
wouldn't
of
he?
course.
Yeah.
So, um, so
Interesting.
it's a very interesting show. If you're a fan of like darker shows that isn't afraid of blood and gore, like Attack on Titan that keeps you on the edge of your seat the whole time, then this show is for you. If you don't like seeing death and a lot of blood, I'd pass it up. As this show is not afraid of gore, is not afraid of blood. You will literally see guts being ripped out in the first episode. It's pretty substantial.
Nice.
The only I know one of the many complaints that people have about this show is he early on, especially early on, he dies a lot, and so you're seeing the same checkpoint over and over and over again. But I think it does a really good job at letting it's a learning phase. You got to figure out what this power is and how it works, and just what his actions do to cause everything to change. I felt like it needed to be done to show that Subaru is just a normal guy and not an OP guy, because he's not OP. I mean, not dying is OP, but he literally, every way he dies, he remembers, and it still hurts, and it still hurts him mentally as well. Because
Oh yeah, I bet
can
that's
you imagine
super.
dying over and over and seeing the shit that he sees while he's dying? That would take a toll on you, you
It
know?
would, man, and then you have to like go back into that situation where you
Yeah,
just died. That would
and
be
ch-
very
and
traumatic.
try to
Yeah.
change it. So,
Right.
um, this show is a 9 out of 10 for me. And it's in my top 5. It is my number one isekai as well. After hearing all that, did I make y'all want to check it out? And I'll try to answer any questions that y'all might have without too big of a spoiler.
Yeah, I think it's definitely something I want to check out. It sounds interesting. One quick question: does Subaru have all-wheel drive?
It's a horse. They got horses.
Okay. So
All hoof.
not as technically advanced as my Subaru. I got you.
I mean, he might have Nikes on. I don't know.
Oh,
At least he dripped up though.
he's got the Crocs with the thing on the heel flipped up into 4-wheel drive
Yeah.
mode.
He's definitely, he's got the little windbreaker on. He's ready, bro. He's like a track star out there. That's all he does is run. That's all he can do.
Interesting. Yeah, when you didn't tell us what it was, but when you said you were picking an isekai, I was just ready for that classic
No, this is
protagonist.
this is the isekai. This
Okay.
is what the kids now call him. This is him.
He's him.
This is him.
I was just ready for every isekai I've tried to watch. They've all had the same main character. It's always like a Kirito from Sword Art Online or something like that, where it's just some dude who's way too strong, doesn't really struggle in fights. Just
This
got
dude,
black hair, wears black, blah blah blah. Like the classic
Right.
trope, isekai trope. So
I
I'm
think-
excited to check one out that isn't that.
I think y'all gonna love it. Like I said, he's just like us, just like the majority of people out here listening to us. A nobody.
Oh,
Just
dude, I would.
weebs.
You put me in one of those worlds, I'm just going fishing.
Driving
him.
out,
I'm just going fishing,
sitting on the lake.
He wants to try to be the MC, bro.
Nah, I'm taking
I'm
that
good
back
on
seat.
that.
I'm taking
Yeah,
that
that
back seat. I'm
doesn't
going
sound too
fishing.
fun. Dying repeatedly. Like, can I just open like a sandwich shop or something?
You know, be the crazy thing. If I was just fishing, right, and by the time I die of old age, I just go back and start fishing again.
But what would you
Hey.
do if you met like the waifu, of
I hope she likes fish.
the anime show?
I hope she likes fish.
An
Oh.
excellent answer, sir.
She might like fish. Who knows? I guess we'll see one day, right, boys?
Yeah. You said it was how many episodes?
50.
Okay.
And we I'm not sure on like new seasons. There hasn't been any news in a while. I think the second season, part 2, was released back in 2021. So it's been a little while, but as you know, COVID's been rampant during this time and stuff like that. So I'm really hoping that they bring new episodes out sometime soon, but I just don't know any news on it, on if there's it's not finished. So,
Okay. Gotcha.
All right.
Awesome.
but anything else, boys? Or
That's it for me.
No, I think you gave us a pretty good picture of it. I'm
Yeah.
excited to check out at least a few episodes of it and see if I get hooked as fast as you did.
Well, Dan, let us know what you got for us.
Yeah, so I'm going a little more aggressive. So I picked Kill la Kill, which is a 2015, I believe. Yeah, 2015 show by Studio Trigger. This was an anime only. This wasn't adapted from a manga or anything like that. So it's a little different. The series follows a vagrant schoolgirl. Her name is Ryuko Matoi on her search to find her father's killer, which brings her to this crazy high school, Hanoiji Academy, and she comes to find out that this world is just crazy messed up. Like, it makes no sense at all, which is what makes it so fun. Basically, come to this academy, she ends up in a violent conflict with the student council president, Satsuki Kiryuin, who is iron-willed. This woman is a badass. Like, you do not want to mess with her. She's the queen bee, if you know what I'm saying. So basically, Hanoiji Academy is a school on top of an island, and all the families live going down the island, and it's like the slums at the bottom up to the really nice house at the top, and then there's a school at the tippity top. How people are selected to where they live is based on how well their student does and what rank they get at the school, which is crazy. Like, imagine just being some dude and your kid sucks. So you're like a doctor and you just end up in the slums.
That's terrible. That is terrible. What if you just get a dud, bro? You're donezo.
But so basically, this school is dominated by the student council, right? And all the clubs. And if you're a leader of a club, you get what's called a Goku uniform, which is basically a uniform with like these life fibers built into it, which give you just like superpowers. And there's
Goku?
3 tiers. Yeah, Goku uniforms, what they're called.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
Dragon Ball Z, shout out.
potentially, man. But yeah, these kids just get superpowers from throwing on a school uniform.
Okay.
So basically, the school has a very, very stratified structure where from the bottom to the top, it's all based on your rank and your uniform and things like that. Higher ranked students get more powerful Goku uniforms, etc. And that in turn affects the social status of the family. Where I'm saying, like, you don't get when you're in the slums and you work your way up 1, 2, 3. So I will give a very, very, very important warning. There's a lot of fan service in this show. It is over the top. It is like borderline, like ecchi. Like, it is up
Okay.
there.
We
All
love
right.
fan service.
Yeah, we
love
know what
fan
fan
service.
service means.
But like, it's crazy because usually like fan service is just there to get a horny 14-year-old boy to like, wow, that's awesome.
Slots
Fan
live
service.
guy here. We
Literally.
love fan service.
So fan service plays a direct role in the plot of this show, which is hilarious.
They really committed.
They
Okay.
really committed.
Go big or go home.
It's just extremely, the whole show is just extremely over the top in like classic Studio Trigger fashion. I mean, as you guys know, I love Gurren Lagann, same studio.
Yeah.
So basically, it's extremely imaginative, but there's a really deep theme that I'm not going to spoil for you, but it underlines the whole show. And basically, it's your classic revenge story. Ryuko has to work her way through the academy, find out the secrets of her father's killer, blah, 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 blah. She randomly has this half a scissor, the scissor blade, which is a badass weapon. As tall as she is a giant half of a scissor. And basically, she finds, early in the show, she finds a sentient sailor suit that drinks her blood. And it gives
That's
her
kinda
power
nuts.
similar to these Goku uniforms. And yeah, so she's got jacked up. But basically, it's like this whole thing. She has to battle her way through the student council to the top to find out these secrets. The plot is just all over the place. It's a massive plot twist halfway through it. The characters are like some of the funniest, most ridiculous characters I've ever seen in a show like this. It is just, you can't forget it. It's one of those shows that like, once you watch like 2 episodes, you're hooked. You're hooked for the whole 24. Like, you just binge it. It's a weekend.
It truly is a weekend then.
Yeah, 24. It's
Okay.
light, you know? It's
Yeah, that
easy.
is pretty light. Yeah.
But yeah, it's crazy. I don't know how to like say a lot of it without spoiling much, but one of the teachers is a nudist. There's a whole thing with it. It's ridiculous.
It seems like it's a lot of action in it.
Yeah, it is some of the most like over the top ridiculous action you will see. in anime. Like not like Dragon Ball Z or like Naruto or One Piece where it's like giant fight scenes.
Mhm.
It's just like insane action. Like it's not like 17 episodes. It's just like a crazy 5-10 minute fight.
Well, that's what we need, right?
That sounds concise, to the point. I like that.
But yeah, I mean, one of like the first battles is her against like the leader of the boxing club. And he's got these like 2-star gauntlets and he's just punching kids off the island, all this crazy shit like that. So it's way over the top. It's awesome though. I definitely recommend watching if you haven't. And
Cool,
yeah,
man.
yeah.
I think we'll check it out. I think all these shows that I've heard today has been check out worthy. So
Yeah, I think we all made some really good cases for our shows.
yeah.
I mean,
Hopefully
I talked
hope-
about fan service and sailor suits. So if that doesn't get you going, I don't know what does.
hopefully the audience feels the same. If they haven't seen these shows, maybe we convince them too.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
if you guys check out any of the shows, let us know in the Discord. You know, shoot us a message, let us know what you think, or an email, or Twitter, or whatever.
Yeah, and let us know if we did a good job describing or if there's anything that we left out that you need to add.
Yeah.
And huge shout out to Wikipedia for me stealing half my notes on the synopsis of this show.
Love Wikipedia.
GGs.
Love it, love it, love it. Well, okay, guys, let's get to our first look for this week, which was Buddy Daddies. I'll go through and give like a quick synopsis that I pulled from offline. It's two assassin partners who never let their target get away somehow end up taking care of a 4-year-old girl. The hot and cool buddies start a life with this cute, innocent girl. These assassins can handle any job with no problem, and yet they find themselves struggling with this little girl. From feeding her to playing with her, taking her to and from nursery school, they're always rushing around. But no matter how crazy their life is, when they have a job, they cannot turn it down. They broke. Is it really
Broke.
possible to live as assassins and parents at the same time? Check it out to see if this temporary family can find some happiness. Tyler, thoughts, first impressions?
Well, it's 100% better than the last first look show we reviewed. Trigun Stampede, by the way.
I'm gonna have to agree with that, man.
Yeah,
much
was-
better.
definitely very fun.
I really enjoyed it. I think I watched 3 episodes of it. I really enjoyed it. It was it's actually darker than I imagined. It's got like a lot of blood and gore. Considering that it's a comedy, it tries to be a funny show, and it tries to be light and cute, but also it throws in a lot of blood and gore and a lot of intense action scenes with guns and violence. I actually enjoyed it though. It's like a pretty good balance, honestly, if I don't say so myself. What y'all think about it?
Yeah, I can definitely agree with that. You know, I was kind of once I kind of saw what it was, I was kind of paralleling it to Spy Family.
I did the
Similar
same
idea.
thing, yeah.
You know, it's kind of like spy, child. There's technically Ray, there's Ray is the other character. He's kind of a cold-blooded assassin, very similar to Spy
He
Family.
is.
So
Mhm.
Totally.
very similar vibe to it. But I think one thing that this does better is the action. I mean, like the first episode, it's like casually they're like doing a job, and then all of a sudden this girl just barges in out of nowhere, and like it's the middle of a gunfight, and she gets held hostage. Like absolutely ridiculous. And the only way he can save this girl is saying, "I'm your dad," while running with a plate in front of him that's just getting smashed with bullets. Like
I thought that was absolutely ridiculous, and I'm glad they started off the series that way, honestly.
It's definitely over the
100%,
top.
man.
Yeah, and-
100%.
And to your point, Tyler, I mean, it did have a lot of dark moments. I think I got 4 episodes in or so. And it's funny to like go from scenes where this little 4-year-old girl is just laughing it up and just running around being a kid to like these crazy, like intense fight scenes. I thought it was cool. It was a cool up and down. I don't think they balanced it really, really well. And kind of like from the get-go, the plot had me like interested. It grabbed me in the first episode.
Yeah, I think it did a really good job with that because of like, I mean, we're all, you know, give or take 29, 30.
Yeah.
Imagine like if just a little girl just ended up in your life out of nowhere. I would have no fucking clue what to do. I'm not parent
I'd
material
be
yet.
so afraid.
I'd be
I'd be
trying
like, oh my god, I have to account for this while
Uh,
also going and assassinating people. Like, what the fuck do I do?
I'd be like, yo, hey, Dan Bass, hey, here, y'all can have this kid here. I don't want her. Get her away from me.
What do I do? She's
Uh,
crying.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with Dan. The plot, it definitely pulls you in on the first episode. It actually starts out gun blazing during an intense car chase, where we actually meet the two MCs, main characters, Ray and Kazuki. Then it cuts to interrogation scene, which is kind of dark in an anime like this. But then it gets kind of confusing and interesting when Kazuki receives a phone call about Miri being sick. But who the hell is Miri? You know?
Mhm.
So,
Yeah,
but
one thing I really enjoyed is that like the very beginning is like they're coming home from a job and Ray
Yeah.
just has a cat. And there's just cat food everywhere. He's
Oh
like,
my
that's not
gosh.
how you take care of a cat. You don't just buy cat food. So Kazuki actually takes the cat and puts it back in a box where Ray found it.
I was
Which-
so mad.
I
Bro,
was
that was
I was
messed
really-
up.
Yeah, I was really pissed about that. I'm an animal guy. I've got a cat and 2 dogs. Like, you don't do that, man. You keep the cat.
No. Right. Once
If-
you bring the cat inside, that's your cat. No matter
Yeah.
what.
don't
That's
put
your
it back
cat.
in the box, bro.
But
You gonna
like,
put it on the street?
What are you doing? And then
But-
it pissed me off even more when Kazuki when he was coming home from his job, he went and bought cat food and was gonna take it back by and feed it to it. Like, you should have just left it at home.
Right.
You know?
but
It's
like
crazy.
going off that, I think one of the funniest things is at the end of the first episode. It's like, so I can't have a cat, but you can have a kid.
Exactly. That's exactly what I would have said too.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I would have been a little bit angry about it though. Ray's a pretty chill guy.
I was gonna say, as long as Ray's got his video games, he doesn't really care.
That's
Yeah.
true. That's true.
Which I
But
respect.
we find out that don't last long with Miri comes into the picture.
So did you guys find any characters particularly interesting? Any characters that lacked a lot in the first few episodes?
Yeah, I
Uh,
mean, I think my 2 favorite probably so far, obviously Miri Chan.
Yeah.
Of course.
Just watching her eat food just hits home for me. She just gets so happy. And that's me when I take a bite of something good. I totally like it just hit home. I was like, oh my God, that's every kid. That's me.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I'd have
And
to
then
say go ahead. Sorry.
No, I was gonna say, and I really liked Ray. You know, I think he had a lot of growth in the first. I think I watched 5 episodes, so he grows a lot in the first 5 episodes. I'm not gonna go into too many details, but he's a
Especially
guy
after
you know.
season 3. I mean, episode 3, I think.
Yeah, he has a lot of PG, some good personal growth.
And that's important in a character. And then Kazuki's just, you know, running
Oh.
around like a mess, which is hilarious because that would be me if you put a 4-year-old in my life for more
He's
than
trying.
Just
for
high
more than
stress.
like 8 hours. Before more than 8 hours, I'm like, what the fuck do I do with this thing?
What about you, Tyler?
For me, the most interesting character so far has been Ray as well. He's just a total badass that always cleans up Kazuki's mess no matter what. It doesn't even matter what's happening. He just comes in guns blazing. He's like Rambo, bro.
Oh
Just
yeah.
built different.
He really is.
I do love the fact that when he goes into assassin mode, he just puts his hair up into a man bun. He's ready to go. He's
Yeah.
walking around shaggy as all hell. Then all of a sudden you see him in a job. I'm like, this dude kind of looks like he's looking pretty good. He cleans up good. And he just pulls like
Imagine-
17 guns out of his pockets and just
Bow,
starts blasting.
bow,
Running
bow.
towards bullets.
And I love
Yeah.
how Kazuki like usually comes up with the plan and Ray's like, bro, we should just go through the front door, dog. What you on?
And they end up actually doing it.
Yeah.
Even
'cause
though
he's like, the plan fell apart and I know what I'm doing, so let me take over.
speaking of like Ray's look, I could imagine if who is it in the Avatar? Sokka? Is that Sokka?
Yeah.
He does kind of got the Sokka flow
Yeah.
going on.
Yeah. Imagine if he was like had the mentality of Ray. That would have been that would have hit hard.
He'd have 15 boomerangs on him at all
Yeah,
times.
exactly.
Oh yeah, just always going in guns blazing. Boomerang blazing. Excuse me.
Boomerang blazing. He's
But,
not even a firebender.
But for me, as well, the least interesting character so far, I would have to kind of say it's Ray as well, honestly, because
Really?
on the other hand, he's a badass. He's interesting, but in most scenes up to season three, episode three, he's just kind of in the background a
He,
lot and
yeah,
just
he
standing there, and we don't really know a whole lot about him.
he is
So,
very one dimensional currently so far. I will
He
agree with
and
that.
is.
in
I
episode three, like I was telling Dan earlier, he actually we start actually seeing Ray becoming part of the main interactions, and we actually see some background, some backstory on when he was a kid. So I'm hoping that it actually like picks his character up some, because right now he's the interesting character for me and also the least interesting character for me. So
okay. I think that's fair. I thought he was my most interesting just because they did give us that little bit of backstory about his childhood, and I
yeah.
think they're saving his character for something. That's why that's why I thought he was the most interesting. Kazuki just doesn't seem like, while he is the more animated one out of the two, Ray and Kazuki, I don't find him that interesting. You know,
No,
he's
we
good
know
for
what
like a
he
laugh or
is.
anything, but like he just
I don't know. He
eh.
comes up with really fun plans. I feel like the plan he
He
comes up with in the
does.
first episode is really fun.
He kind of gets emotional too. He cares about Mary a
Oh, he
lot,
does.
as we see when they are talking to the mother of Mary. Only a name, of course. It seems like.
Yeah,
Yes,
definitely. And
for sure.
he kind of hits close to home for me too because he has a crippling gambling problem, and
Big
I'm
time.
just kidding.
Oh shit!
He really does. Dude lost his shirt,
Who doesn't
did he
like to
not?
gamble every now and then? I mean, I've never
A few
lost my
bucks.
clothes, but it's all about
Uh,
setting limits.
Yeah, I like
window.
Kazuki, but I didn't. He's all right. He just didn't seem all that interesting to me. I
I
like what he does
mean,
for the plot, but I
yeah,
don't like him. I guess I should say
he
that.
he's definitely
Yeah,
funny. I enjoy watching him. I
Okay.
enjoy it.
yeah. I guess it's kind of interesting because it like parallels Spy Family pretty well, in my opinion. So I guess like if you had to compare the two families, which one do you like more?
For me, it's I enjoy Lloyd and Yor and Onion way better. Uh, I just That's more of like a slice of life type of show over there, which I enjoy. It's got more romantic vibes going on, which I'm a big fan of as well. I just can't go wrong with Spy Family. It's like the best of both worlds for me.
Yeah, I was gonna say I think I like the plot so far a little more in Buddy Daddies. But I definitely like the character interactions more in Spy Family. But and I mean Anya just blows everybody out of the water. She is one
Anya
of
is
the
amazing.
she's like one of the best characters of last year. I mean,
Yeah, like period.
Which
So I mean, that's hard to like compare these two.
which
Um,
I don't think we're knocking Buddy Daddies. I really think this is a good show, but Spy
Definitely
Family is
not.
so much better, I
Right.
think.
Yeah, Spy Family is really up there right now. Buddy Daddies is definitely good. If you guys want to go ahead and do ratings, I'm gonna start on it. I'm gonna give Buddy Daddies maybe like a 6.5. It's solid. It's solid. A little better than mid for me. It's solid. I'm kind of interested to see what else they do with this concept. Honestly, solid
yeah,
characters, solid plot. Yeah.
I can definitely agree with that. I'd probably give it a 6.5 like you did. I am interested to see where it goes. But it's one of those shows where it's light and it kind of hits a good spot for me. It's not like going to be in my top 10 by any means or even my top 20 or
No.
30 probably, but it's fun. It's something fun. It's weekly right now. It just came out the 6th episode. So if you guys want to catch up, I think we're all in agreement on this that we're actually going to add it to the weekly rundown for the rest of season 1.
Yes,
Yeah,
sir.
I'm down for it. I want to see where it goes. Just to have a little, change of pace from One Piece to My Hero.
A little variety.
So yeah.
Yes. What about
For
you, Tyler?
me, I'll probably give it like a low 7 after 3 episodes. It may go higher as we go on, just depending on how the plot goes and how Ray and Kazuki and Mary's character progressions go. So, uh,
I do think one of my favorite parts of the show so far is I don't think Tyler's there yet, but when they eventually get her, I mean, we said in the synopsis, when they eventually get her into the nursery school, the
Mhm.
moms are the highlight of that entire episode.
Oh,
Oh, it's hilarious.
Oh, it's so funny. It's just like your classic like mom gossip in the background. They're like, she has two dads. They look
they're
rich.
so hot.
They
Yeah.
look rich. They're hot. It's just like fucking hilarious.
little do they know they are not rich. In fact,
But they are pretty good looking.
Fucking bro.
Yeah.
Boys. But yeah, guys, let's Tyler, you want to hit us with our next segment here?
Yes, sir. So now we're gonna go into the weekly rundown, and as y'all know, for the weekly rundown, we'll be discussing One Piece episode 1051 first, then moving on to My Hero Academia episode 132. If you have not seen them, now is your time to pause the podcast or go watch them. Or you can skip ahead to our review of the movie Akira, a throwback from 1988. I'll give y'all a few seconds to do what you got to do.
And I know that catching up to One Piece is no easy chore, but it's not a
No.
chore. It is a fucking delight. If you
We
haven't
believe in you
watched it
guys.
yet, I believe in you. We
And-
believe in you.
If I could do it all over again, I would love to watch One Piece for the first time again.
Just kind of sidebar here, but have you guys ever seen those TikToks going around? And it's like, would you have your best friend die to rewatch One Piece again? And it's like Keanu
The
Reeves sitting
choices.
there crying with a glass of wine with like Robin sitting next to him at a table.
The choices, bro. Don't make me make this choice.
That's nuts. That's
Sorry,
a crazy
Bass.
question to ask
Sorry,
somebody.
Bass. Sorry,
Oh
Bass.
no, not like this. Not like this. I'm about to stay away from you, dog.
It's magic, dude.
Well, if y'all still here, first up, we're gonna talk about One Piece 1051, titled "A Legend All Over Again." Luffy's fist roars in the sky. I actually love this episode. Way more action in it compared to the last few episodes. To be honest, meaningful events actually take place as well. What's your first take on this episode, Dan?
Yeah. So if you guys listened last week, I had some strong opinions on the animation. I'm not a big fan of CGI dragons going at it, but One Piece came back so strong this week. Like,
So strong.
so strong. I mean, hybrid form Kaido is back, and that might be my favorite character design in all of One Piece at this point. He goes hard. Like,
Yeah.
there's no one.
Okay.
Dol
I can see
Flamingo
that.
is menacing, but like some of the animation they've had on Kaido with the close-ups is like, this dude is the strongest creature in the world. There's no
He
doubt in my
looks straight
mind.
up scary. He looks
He's-
straight up scary. Yeah.
If that was in front of me, I'd be pissing my pants,
oh
terrified.
yeah. Oh yeah.
I'd be like Momo for sure.
Don't say that, Tyler. Don't say that.
I'd be dead. So I mean, I'm not a giant dragon. I can't fly away. I'm similar to the main character Subaru in ReZero. I'm just an average dude. I would be fucked.
Yeah, I guess we just cry, I guess. You know?
I don't even know if I
Yeah.
could cry, dude. All the liquid inside of me would be in my pants.
I mean, for me, the hybrid form is definitely my favorite as well. Out of the Kaido forms, he just looks like a badass.
See, yeah, I'm gonna have to go with his like full dragon form.
Really?
I don't think the actual design is better than his like humanoid dragon human form, right?
Yeah.
But I'm just like imagining myself being on a battlefield and this singular man turns into a big ass dragon that's hundreds of meters long. It's like it would be overwhelming. You can fight one person, but this thing's 300 meters long. Like you're just like looking around. You're like, okay, like so this is over. This is just done.
I guess you got to think about it like this, though. Imagine taking the power of that 100-meter dragon and putting it in like a 30-foot tall dude.
Look, man, you look at war, present and past, intimidation is a large part of it.
They're both
What
fucking
if-
intimidating.
what if the dragon was pink?
Less intimidating, but it's still a 300-meter dragon, especially if it's crying. You know, I'm not really afraid of it if it's
Yeah,
crying.
it's really weird that Momo ate the fruit and instead. I mean, there's a whole thing about it later in the manga, but the Azure Dragon should not be pink. Just putting that out there.
Okay.
But yeah, I loved that. I love that hybrid Kaido is back. One of my favorite scenes from this episode was the clash between Luffy and Kaido, where they framed it in comparison to Roger and Whitebeard going at it in the form of Odin's logbook. I was like, holy fuck.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
was the same.
It just blew me away.
I thought it was awesome. So do we think Luffy's like officially at Yonko level? Like, is that what that means? You know, is that our threshold right there?
I think he's been at Yonko level, to be honest.
You think so? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, he's been 1v1ing Kaido, and I mean Yamato did as well, but he was actually making progress on him. So
Right. Yeah, this most recent fight has been a lot better than the first couple. I think the first time he faced him, he got one shotted.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Way back beginning of Wano. Yeah. He got dogged on. But I think Luffy's just been growing so much in the last, all these fights, and especially with the last one. I mean, he didn't learn how to Code Conqueror's hockey until he was mid fight with Kaido. And now he's just up there like, oh, this is cake. Just pulls it out, hits the Ryu, and he's like, boom, bitch, get out the way.
My Dan was saying his favorite part this episode. My favorite part was when Yamato asked Luffy if he wanted to fight him solo, and Luffy smiled and said yes.
Dude,
that was my favorite part.
That smile is contagious.
That was my favorite part.
If you watch that and you didn't have a big ass shit-eating grin on your face, like, come on, man, come on.
Yamato knows. It's like, Luffy wants to be alone up here. Let's go, Momo.
Let's get up out of here. Let this man handle this.
Let's go try to teach you how to fly, bro.
Right.
Since you're a dragon.
Right. And speaking of that, man, how about my man Monomusuke Skywalker Kozuki coming up big? You know what I'm saying? He's walking on the sky now. He's feeling big. He was crying a little bit at the beginning of the episode, but I think he's coming into his own, and I think that's going to be good to see. I'm excited for that.
I absolutely loved the scene where Momo was falling, and he just starts thinking back to Kinemon and Kiku, and they went with that crazy animation where it was like black and gold.
Yeah, like the lines,
and the lines, and he just starts grabbing onto flame clouds. Oh my god! And then when it ends that, it goes just the fire clouds everywhere. It's like, holy shit, this is fucking incredible, dude.
Yes.
Also, another thing from during that time when he was getting like a crash course in how to fly and falling and stuff, the song that comes on.
Yes.
Do y'all know what I'm talking about?
Yes.
That's when you know it's going to be okay, bro. When that song plays, everything is gonna be okay.
I was just
what song was it? I don't remember.
It's like the classic One Piece.
Yeah.
I don't know how to sing it, but it's like the classic One Piece like music.
Like triumph time, victory.
Yeah, I heard that.
I know what music you're talking about now.
I don't think we've heard that in
it's been a minute.
It's been a while.
God knows how long. And
but when we hear it, we know shit's fixing to, get wild.
Oh yeah, dude. I straight up got goosebumps when that came on. I was like, holy shit, here we go, baby.
This is it.
My only sticking point about the episode, I hate when they start doing the auras. I feel like they overdo them a little bit. It was towards the end of the episode, and like Luffy and Kaido like powered up, and I felt like they were going Super Saiyan. I know a lot of different animes do auras, but I wish they would just like ease off of it a little bit.
Well, it used to actually be it used to be worse than that. And
a lot
of people complained about it as well, like that, and they actually turned it down a lot.
They did. They could do
turn it down a little bit more. You said,
yeah, I think they could do away with it. Honestly.
I think it's really interesting because if you remember back in, I don't remember what arc it is. But it's when Shanks goes to meet Whitebeard, and they clash, and the clouds, they crack the sky essentially, like Luffy and Kaido did in this episode. But there was nothing there. But I was really thinking it was cool, like going back to it, because I was like, wait, we didn't know about hockey back then.
No.
Right.
So maybe like Oda just wasn't animating it back then because it was kind of like, we don't know what's going on here,
Yeah.
But I mean, all the lightning and shit, that was badass. I think I understand what you're saying about the auras, but like keep the lightning.
I mean, the
lightning's
lightning
fucking
and stuff
sweet.
is fine, but I don't feel like it needs auras. You know what I'm saying? I don't feel like it
Yeah.
needs it.
I do like the animation they do when he uses the Wano form of Haki Ryu.
I think
Like
that's
where
important.
his fist
An
gets
important
glowing.
distinction.
That's
Yes.
cool. But when
Yes. It's like
when
the full
Luffy's-
body aura. It's like, okay,
Yeah.
what's really the point of this, man? Maybe there's a point later that I don't know about, but for right now, I'm like, on it.
no, I can agree
That's
with
my
that.
that's really my only complaint. I thought this was a banger.
Yeah, it definitely was. Speaking of the heavens cracking open, skies cracking open, which actually caused all the clouds that was covering the moon to disappear out of the way, which also means Cat Viper and Duke Darkstorm over here was able to enter the Sulong form again. What y'all think about that?
Oh man, I love that. You know, like I think that's like a really cool byproduct of it because Luffy had no idea.
No,
Right. And I didn't
And
see
like-
that coming.
either. They
at all.
don't either.
They don't know
And
what
all
happened.
of a sudden,
Yeah.
I love the line from Cat Viper, and it was like, guess luck's on my side or something along the lines of that. And then he just one taps Sparrow with Odin single sword style feline
both of them.
frenzy. And I was like,
Both of them.
yes.
You love to see it, man.
Duke
Absolute
Darkstorm hit
banger.
Jack with the cannon cleaver, Odin one sword style as well. Like that it's crazy for both, main headliner people, Sparrow, and Jack to be down with one hit after they turn into Sulong again. That was crazy for me, but it's so I felt like it's much needed at this time.
Definitely. And it wrapped up some plot points that have been around for a long time, too. I mean, God, going back to Whole Cake Island and going back to the Zoark. I mean, that's
Pedro.
Retribution.
So,
300
deserved it,
episodes
man.
ago.
They
yeah,
deserve
it's
that.
been a
Like-
while.
Mm-hmm.
It was really awesome to see those get tidied up finally after all this time and see that the good guys came out on top finally.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. I think we were
Sparrow
all waiting on
falling.
that for a very, very long time.
Yep. We also seen Orochi. What's he doing up there? Is he hiding?
Man,
Being
you
a
know
slime ball.
Is he just
Being a
chilling up
slime
there?
ball.
You know he got bitch in his blood. He always hiding.
I
He's
mean,
a slime ball, dude.
we haven't seen him in a minute, and next thing we know, he's up here like, oh, Jack fell, but it doesn't matter. I'm just gonna stay hiding over here, I guess. In my
Right.
little corner, bro.
What I mean, what do you guys think his plan is? Like, is he gonna try to take power after the end of the fight when everybody's hurting, or like, what do you guys think he's just hiding it out until you can escape?
I think. I think.
I was
Go ahead,
go
Dan.
for it. I was
No,
gonna say I think he's gonna try to hide out to escape because I mean he's got a mythical dragon fruit too. Comes the 5-headed dragon or whatever. But like imagine like you're that goofy looking thing and all of a sudden you see Momo in his full dragon form. Like nah, I ain't fucking with that.
Yeah, he's
I think he's
staying
wise
hidden.
enough to leave it alone.
Yeah.
Throw that man in a pot of oil. Retribution, baby.
He needs to be. I mean,
We're getting our
bro,
licks back.
all the people have suffered under his and Kaido's rule, so he don't get no mercy from me.
Respect.
So after this episode, where do you guys think we're going in the next one before the break? Any ideas?
Honestly, I think they're gonna focus more on Zoro and Sanji next episode. I don't think we're gonna get much from the rooftop, to be honest.
Yeah, that's the same idea
I could see.
I had. I think it'll be nice to tie up some of the other loose ends before they get to the big brawl with Kaido and Luffy and wherever that's going.
And we
No
still
spoilers.
got Big Mom down there fighting Kid and Law as well that we
True.
haven't really seen a whole lot happening lately. So
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think like the best progression for it would be take down the other two lead performers, and then you could see, well, if La and everyone can take down Big Mom. You know, I'm not sure if they've got it. I mean, Big Mom is Big Mom. She's terrifying.
Oh,
Yeah,
she
I
really
mean-
is. And you heard in the episode her say, "Oh, Kaido, it must be getting interesting up there.
yeah.
You must be having a lot of fun." And that kind of made me think: is Kaido starting to get to where he's going all out? and he's really trying to delete some of these people up there, you know. But yet to be seen. But I don't know about them beating Big Mom. If she's actually focused and trying her hardest, I think she's a tough one.
Yeah, it is a 2-for-1 though, and I mean
That is true.
those two are pretty close to Luffy's level, if not on it. You know,
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
Law has the most
That thing's so broken for
ridiculous devil fruit there is in the Opa Opa no Mi.
Yeah, I think Kid and Law is definitely gonna have to work together in order to have a chance against Big Mom. And we all know that Kid is kind of egotistical, I guess you can say, kind of.
Yeah, I was
Yes.
gonna say, Kid doesn't want to work with nobody.
It's gonna be interesting. And Law's, just kind of cocky, I guess. I
I
would
say he's
say
the
a
most
little bit.
level-headed one out of the
Yeah, but he's also a
three.
little bit cocky, honestly.
He is.
So,
Unless he's talking to Doflamingo, then he's a little boy.
That's his daddy.
That is his daddy. It's his daddy.
Well, I guess uncle.
I'm going back at the end of the episode with Kaido telling Luffy that he's going to die there, and Luffy responds, by leveling up, like Bass was saying, and then Kaido does the same and announced that he's going to give Luffy a special treat. What do we think that special treat is? A knuckle sandwich or what?
No spoilers.
Okay. I just think he's gonna actually start really trying to, like I
Kaido,
said, beat the crap out of that man.
Kaido has a very interesting fighting style. I'll put it that way.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. It's hard to talk about that kind of thing with you guys because you read the manga, but
Well, that's the funny thing is I read the manga so long ago that like the order of everything is not fresh.
Okay.
So like I know what happens, but I don't know which is coming where and everything like that. And at the same time, some of these things happen simultaneously that if the anime did want to, they could rearrange some of the fights a little bit, because
Mhm.
I mean everything is happening at the same time. So if they want to do it in a certain order to bring certain I guess like emphasis to something, they could. Because I mean when Sanji and Zoro are fighting the other two lead performers, Luffy and Kaido aren't just sitting there fucking talking shit. Like they're fighting,
So they're not twiddling their thumbs?
No,
Are
they're
you
playing
sure?
cards. They're playing cards.
Yeah. Okay.
Also, do we think that Momo is actually gonna be able to stop Onigashimas from landing on the flower capital? Do we think that Yamato is actually gonna teach him and he's gonna be able to stop it?
I don't know if he's gonna stop it, but I don't think it's gonna land on the flower capital.
Because I'll actually note as well that if Luffy does happen to take down Kaido, like what is holding up Onigashimas? It is Kaido. So
Right.
obviously Momo would have to somehow manage to keep it afloat if that situation happened. I'm not.
Well, yeah,
as of right now, I'm not sure if he could do it or not.
Yeah.
Honestly,
I guess that's like what I'm saying is like I don't know if he's going to actually stop it, but it's not going to hit the flower capital. I think that would just be way over the top for the story that One Piece is.
Yeah.
That's a lot of that's a whole city of people just getting
Well, not
crushed,
even that.
right?
Think
You know what I'm
about
saying?
all the people inside leading the rebellion, I guess, whatever you
Yeah,
want to call it.
that's worst case scenario.
I mean, there's
So
500 samurai. There's everybody in there as well who haven't died yet. Whoever hasn't died, but they're all
Mhm.
still in there. And I mean, Momo ain't got a big enough back to take everybody out.
Right.
and
What are your thoughts on it, Tyler?
I just it's kind of hard to talk about it, honestly.
Oh, okay.
Like Dan was saying, without getting into like spoilers and stuff. I think he's gonna struggle. It's Momo. Momo always gonna struggle, bro. No matter what he does.
Yeah, he
with
drives the
anything.
struggle bus.
So
And in classic One Piece fashion, boom, to be continued.
but yeah, What I mean, do y'all have anything else on One Piece or
No, I think I'm good. I think I'm ready to move on to My Hero.
yeah, Bass?
Let's do it.
Oh hell yeah! So now we're gonna go to My Hero Academia, episode 132, titled "Full Power." In this episode, we're still learning about the aftermath of the failed raid on the League of Villains. We also get to kind of see what Deku has been up to since he left UA. This episode starts off strong for me with some great action-packed moments. What's your thoughts on 132, Dan?
Oh, I absolutely loved this episode. Like, if the entire this arc is called the Dark Hero arc.
Mhm.
If this episode is any precursor to what's coming, we are in for like potentially peak My Hero Academia. I'm not saying peak anime, but like peak My Hero. You
I'm
know,
gonna have to
like
excited.
agree. Yeah, I'm gonna have to agree with you on that. Seems like Midoriya has a little bit better control over his powers, a lot better.
A
We've
lot.
we've seen some really good both personal growth and growth in power from him. And him having to kind of like clean up the streets on his own. I think that's like their sweet spot right now until we get into the next phase of this story. I think it's a really good place for them to be in right now because I personally kind of needed a little bit of this. Like I've told you guys in the past, Midoriya is not even close to being my favorite MC. I've been kind of not so fond of him, but seeing him in this past episode, I can see him moving up a little bit for sure.
He's definitely done like a lot of maturing. It seems like so. It's exciting to see dark Deku type of shit over here. So
definitely. One of the things I thought was kind of interesting, he's kind of like a dick now.
it's
Like he
somewhat.
just kind of shows up, does his thing, drops him off, then he goes to meet All Might, and he's just like, "Oh, danger sense, see you, bitch," and just goes off and does his own thing again. Like it's just kind of weird. It's a weird change, you know?
It is.
It
It
definitely
is.
is.
I think it's out of a lot of that, at least on the part where he's like saving people and jetting. It's necessity.
Yeah.
He's using the smoke power there. I forget the name of it off the top of my head.
Smokescreen.
Smoke. Wow. Okay, I'll get that next time for sure. But he's using smoke screen a lot, and even as N said, a little too much.
Well, I mean,
Yeah.
we see that like the people are trying to band together and fight against villains, and they're actually refusing help from heroes. And even the heroes that are around, like we see Grand and Turtleneck at the beginning of the episode, they're no match for people. They're no match for some villains. It's like Gigantomachia. I'll get it. I know muscular. I'll get it here in a minute. I'll get it here in a minute, boys.
You're all good, brother.
They're really no match for muscular, and the people, they definitely no match for muscular. And I just feel like Deku has his hands full because he's one of the more powerful superheroes out there, and he's got to go save all these newbies that's running around trying to protect the people who don't even want help anymore.
Right.
So
It was good to see like the comparison of like the UA high school to that other high school. I'm not even going to try to pronounce it.
Dan Paul's got it.
Ketsubutsu.
Ketsubutsu. All right. It's really cool like to see how far behind they were the guys at UI.
They
UA,
are.
excuse me.
Well, it's kind of one of the crazy things is like you don't think about the other schools, but they haven't been having the events that UA has had
Right.
because of Midoriya being there. So they haven't been put in real life situation after real life situation after real life situation. I mean, that's
They're
a
actual
third year.
just high school students, like normal high school students at
Yeah.
powers. Yeah.
That's a third year or 2 third years who are probably going to go be like D level heroes down the line.
But also,
Mhm.
isn't like UA like top notch? Like, isn't it like a top
It is.
tier
It's the
school
best
Yeah,
one.
they're
compared
top
to
dog.
the other
Yeah.
ones? So, I mean, you're obviously gonna have better heroes there. So as
For
well.
sure. But I thought it was good for them to actually put that in the story and say,
Yeah.
hey, not everybody's built like class 1A or class even 1B. They're not built like that out here. And so they're going to have to get some help. And really, the heroes aren't ready. I thought that was cool.
Yeah, I definitely thought it was really cool to see the callback to both Muscular and Grand and Turtleneck because it really showed how much o- overpowered Deku has gotten in such a short time. I mean, like, he's got that dog in him, and you don't really think about it because you're always comparing him to Bakugo and everybody else, Shoto and everyone else, and all of a sudden you compare him to a third year, and it's like, oh, these guys got nothing on Deku,
It's not even the
nothing,
same thing. Yeah.
nothing.
um,
What'd you guys think about that callback though, bringing those two back and Muscular to start the arc? I thought that was awesome.
well, I was actually kind of worried when I seen Muscular was the first villain that we see Deku, fight after his coma, because during his first fight with him in the forced training camp arc, Deku used 100% full power multiple times and didn't do anything. It was only after he went plus ultra, which was due to Kota's inspiration, that he was able to beat him. But this time it was way different. It seems he didn't even really try at all. He just basically showed up, just
Yeah, that was
whooped
light
him,
work.
and then just turned him in. There was no need for me to worry. It didn't seem like, because Deku's on a much higher level at this point than he was. Um,
Yeah.
so
I think him having to go from, 100% to 45%, sure there was some limitations because of some of the gear he was using. But if you think about it, during that fight, he did exactly what he was taught. What he was taught at UA high school. He got the villain away from everybody that was in danger, and he handled the situation, and he did it. It was quick. He tried to get to understand him a little bit, but he was like, "Man,
This
this
guy's
guy's
lost.
just crazy, bro. This guy's just nuts." And he was like, "All right, let's finish this. I'm gonna knock you out now."
yeah, this guy's just out for blood.
Yeah.
So
Well, one thing I really enjoyed in classic, Midoriya fashion is that he recalled that Grand had used his vibration attack on him, which loosened
yeah,
up the muscles. So he was able to find the weak point and actually just go in with 45%, just pwn him, absolutely just destroy him, like
Yep.
it's just bringing that battle smarts. And I think that's one of the cool things with Deku and One for All is that All Might just smash shit. He was just like, I'm
Yes.
here to smash shit. But
I
Deku's a
punch
lot
hard.
more strategic
he has to
and
be.
he thinks
So
about that.
Yeah, and I mean that's really that's his personality. That's who he is. From the moment he showed up at UA, he
so
knew
do
everybody. He knew their weaknesses, their strengths, and
yeah.
that's
I
how he
mean,
plays.
he had to be the guy that researched and did the extra work, because he was quirkless, and the quirk that he acquired literally killed his body when he uses it. So he has to use his mind to make up for that.
Yes, sir. And I got a question for you guys. So in the sixth user of One for All, now that they can actually kind of just talk to him whenever it seems like, he said that even though possessing the past user's quirks, they weren't they weren't set up to like give him like ultimate moves or anything like that. Does that kind of like change how you guys think about how One for All works? Does that add anything more interesting to you guys, or is it change the view of like the power itself for you guys?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, if you look at the quirks he has right now, and I actually had a note in here to talk about it. So he's got One for All, which is stockpiling. He's got Danger
Yep.
Sense, which allows him to sense danger. Black Whip, which is great for movement as well as containing a villain. Float and Smokescreen. And it's kind of like none of those are, I mean, Black Whip can be used defensively, and One for All obviously can, but the rest of
Hmm.
those, they're not really offensive quirks. And the way he uses them as tools to in unison really really just like speaks to how smart he is when it comes to actually using the quirk correctly. And I mean that's something that All Might never did. All Might was just I'm gonna smash the shit. United States of Smash, baby, let's go.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So I
I
thought that
mean,
was awesome.
I think we've seen all these quirks from the One for All users being used as tools in the fight against Muscular. I mean, not all of them, but some of them. And I think that's why he was able to take care of Muscular so easily, because he was using them as tools and not ultimate moves. Um, So I'm excited to see him actually face people, villains that are more on his level, and him put these tools to use like they should be. So
Yeah, I
Right.
mean, at this point, how many villains do you think are actually on his level besides One for All and Shigaraki? Like,
uh not a whole lot. I mean, people, some villains could probably um like pushing to his limits, his Deku, which we don't know now with the Dark Deku. Uh, we don't know if he's
Dark
able
Deku.
to.
I like that.
Yeah, I mean, we don't know if how used to Deku he would be hesitant to actually hurt someone majorly. But now I think that he's willing to do it if he wants to save people. So, what do y'all
That's
think?
true. I think he doesn't even have an option at this point. I mean,
Yeah,
look at how the world is. It's in ruins. It's in literally in ruins.
yeah, we're
The
seeing
only
the
thing,
downfall of heroes right now. So,
yeah. So he's got to pick up a lot of slack here, especially with a lot of the older guys retiring. Um, Not having like a set ultimate move did kind of make me a little worried for Midoriya. I think he's going to be smart enough to use all of these quirks he has um, properly. But when you're talking about, all for one and Shigaraki, you're gonna have a stop button. I feel at some point. So I'm a little worried for him, but I thought it was really cool that the all the previous users could actually just talk to him now, give him advice about what's going on because that's a lot of battle knowledge. That is a
Yeah.
lot of battle knowledge,
Oh,
and that
definitely,
counts for
man.
something. It counts for a lot actually.
Definitely. I think right now his ultimate is probably Detroit Smash. I mean, that's what he finishes off a lot of battles with.
True,
But
true.
it's not at full power yet. So that kind of one thing I was thinking is kind of really interesting is like, so we've seen obviously One for All. We've seen Smokescreen, Float, Black Whip, and Danger Sense. So there's 9 users total. 2 of them were quirkless. So we should have another 2 quirks coming out. Do you think those are going to be ones that help him find that ultimate move? And if you guys could guess, what do you think he's going to get?
Oh my god, that's such a big question. The second part of that question, I feel
Eh,
like at least one of those has to be offensive in a way. Because, like you just said a few minutes ago, I mean, almost everything he has, except for his super duper strength, is defensive. He has smoke screen. Black whip is just a restraint tool. You can beat some people up with it. Danger sense is completely defenseless. So I think one has to be offensive. But as far as saying what quirk it might be, man, there's so many. The creators have been
yeah.
so like creative with it. I can't tell you that part.
I
yeah,
mean, there's quirks for everything right now. It's no really stopping what a quirk can do in today's world and My Hero Academia. So I have no idea. I can't even begin to think what kind of quirk that we're gonna see.
yeah, definitely. I mean, like thinking about it, it's definitely not going to be. I mean, there's some crazy quirks. I mean, think like Orca and Froopy with her frog quirk. Like, I don't think he's going to get one of those, but like the 2 guesses I could have is something to augment offense, power level or something like that, as well as potentially speed. Because like while he's extremely fast with All for One, I feel, or One for All, I feel like he could get to the next level. And I mean, there's those 2 weirdos just sitting in the back of the room with their head against the wall.
Yeah, I could see a speed thing going on. Um, but as far as everyone, like an attack quirk, I don't think the speed would count as an attack quirk. Would do you?
I would say speed is a great offensive tool. I
Yeah,
wouldn't call it an
I
attack
think
quirk,
so.
but it's a good offensive tool. It's also a good defensive tool. I mean, if he gets into a situation that he can't win, he can run away. So I think that'll be interesting to see if that comes in down the line. But that's kind of my 2 guesses. I had a long plane ride last night. Well, this
yeah,
morning, I guess. So I was just kind
and
of
Plenty
spitballing.
time to think. Yeah,
I
I
was
think I
also,
think
spitballing.
speed can. I mean, speed is so versatile. Um, I definitely think it can be an offensive tool, but like you said, Dan, it can be defensive as well. If you can be somewhere quicker than your enemy, you can do a lot of things to them. Even like in boxing, speed's a thing.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean,
MMA, you gotta have some speed too. You got to be able to move around and get around your opponent.
Well, it's like, I
Yeah.
mean, if he's gonna be the ultimate hero, he's probably got to be faster than what's his buddy's name? The jet engine quirk in his
Yeah,
legs.
yeah.
And
I don't.
Bakugo, he's got to be faster
Class
than those guys.
president.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
think
I can't
so.
think of his name at the top of my head. He's gonna be faster than those guys, though. I mean, like, it's just a thought, it's something that he doesn't have yet. And if he's gonna be the ultimate culmination of all of this, I just think that's something that could come into play. I just thought it was an interesting question.
Also, we also learned that during his last fight, his arms didn't take as much damage because he was using, I think, Black Whip to reinforce from the inside. Is that correct?
I don't think it was Black Whip. Yeah, he got a
Or
piece of tech from somebody that like covered his body.
but they
So
said
that
that
was
too. But
actually
they
after the
also
fact.
said that he was using his quirks to, or his body was being reinforced from the inside out, or something like that. Did they not say that?
Yeah, so subconsciously, God knows how the hell he pulled this one off. He was using Black Whip in that fight to reinforce his arms.
Yeah.
Okay.
The mid gauntlets came in after. That was something that All Might got from America before the
Yeah, he
the
was using
border
that
shut down.
against Muscular. He wasn't using that in the fight against Shigaraki and the boys.
Okay. Okay.
How do you guys feel about the Avengers Justice League esque team up that we got at the end of the episode with the three top heroes, All Might and Deku? Did you guys like that?
I definitely got the Avengers vibes right there. I think it's gonna be fucking sick. Are you kidding me, man?
I mean, they got to. The world's in a bad place right now. Like, they got to work together to, take down some of the big dogs. But we'll see how it goes.
I was kind of laughing. I was like, it's like the Avengers in the fact that there's all these badasses, and then there's All Might, who's just like a walking skeleton at this point. He's basically just Black Widow kicking shit. What's your superpower? I kick things.
I motivate my teammates.
Another another thing that was a huge surprise to me, and also is a huge help to Deku, I think, and will be in the future as well. It can be counted as a tool, you would say. His ability to talk to the past wielders. That's like OP.
Oh,
Honestly.
definitely, yeah.
It is.
Yeah, definitely. What so it's kind of funny. So I mean, with all this action and everything, it's I think it's hilarious that my favorite scene this entire episode was when it's just Hawks, Endeavor, and Best Genius. And Best Genius is talking to All Might on the phone. And he's holding the phone like a total goober. Like, looks like an idiot. You just got Hawks over there. The way he holds that phone is so fucking cool, dude. And I'm like, oh my God, Hawks, you're an idiot.
That was some
Hawks
good
is
comic
definitely an
relief
idiot.
right there.
Oh.
And it's good to see that, My Hero isn't going to lose that, because that's been a big part of the show. It's always had a light, funny side to it. And we're getting to such a serious part of the story. It's good to see that they're still going to include that.
Speaking of serious parts of My Hero, let's go to when Hawk said that if the enemies who broke into Tartarus are completely ready to fight, then it's all over. That's pretty dark. What do y'all think about that? You think it's true?
I'm not too sure. I think they may be ready for them. I think they may be. I mean, obviously they're already getting prepared, but I'm not sure they'll be able to surprise them. I think they'll be expecting a surprise attack from them.
Yeah, I think on a certain level, with Nomus and everything like that, like, I think they can handle that situation. But I don't know with All for One and Shigaraki, man. That is probably the biggest baddie they've seen in like 30 years. And I don't know if they're ready for that without Deku getting a full handle on his power and be able to use essentially 100% of it,
I'm with Dan. Like, if the villains, like, they surprised the villains hardcore in the last raid, and you see how it turned out. They was doing pretty well until the very end, and they just got their ass handed to them very fast. And so imagine if the villains actually know that they're coming, and you're not going to be able to sneak attack them anymore right now.
Yeah, I don't think so.
And
Well, I don't
then,
think they're gonna have that opportunity, man. I think they're playing
Yeah.
defense right now. Like, they're down 2-0, in the third period of a hockey game right now, worried about it, and they got to they got to play a little defense here and see what they can do to get the offense up. Because right now, nobody can. I mean, Shigaraki was at 70%
Yeah.
when they
Yep.
He
fought the
wasn't
first
even
time,
he
and he was
wasn't even
unconscious,
complete.
just fucking shit
Yeah.
up. Like,
So what if he has time to heal and like become 100%? Who's stopping him besides Deku? And
no one, man.
Nobody.
Deku can't even stop him right now, I don't think. So
Not by himself.
no.
That's
Like
why I guess
it's
we got to see what those last two quirks are and see if they can get him up to 100%. Because I mean, I think 100% Deku is going to be god tier. You know, that's going to be like Saitama fucking level of I can just punch anything and they're dead. But he's got to get there. You know, that's the
Yes.
thing. And
Yeah,
it's be interesting to
that's the
see how
hardest
he.
part for him.
It'll be interesting to see how he continues to progress and grow as a hero and as the main character of the show. So
and I think if they're gonna have a chance, Endeavor is gonna have to move past freezing up when he sees his son. He's definitely gonna have to face him and try to uh, fight him and move past that situation because Deku's not gonna be able to take on everyone. When he's Shigaraki's he's gonna have his hands full.
yeah, I was going to say
100%.
I think that portion with fighting his son, I think that's going to be Shoto's battle. Honestly,
You think so? You
I
think
think
it's
that's gonna.
gonna?
Yeah,
What
I
do you
think
think
that's going to be
Endeavor's
Shoto's
gonna
battle.
do? You
Uh,
th-
well, if the anime continues to be awesome, I think Endeavor might die, and that might be in that battle, and that
Hmm.
might push Shoto. You know, that's just a thought. I mean, I
Oh,
haven't read
that'd
this
be
or anything, so
that'd be spicy.
that'd be awesome.
I
Well, it'd
mean,
be
I can
sad,
see it.
but it would be fucking awesome
I
because
mean,
that would
that's
push
what.
Shoto to the next level. I mean, Shoto, besides One for All, might have the most powerful quirk combination in the world. You know,
And I mean, with Endeavor, the people, the public, n- don't really like him right now. Some might say that they want to see him gone, so they might get their wish. Maybe.
Yeah. And I think the funny thing about Endeavor is he has a stamina problem, right? And
Big
that's
if
time.
true.
yeah, he has a big stamina problem, which is the whole reason he made this family he has right now. So I don't think while I think that he can fight for a short amount of time with uh All for One or Shigaraki. I don't think he's going to be able to finish them. I think he could start off with both Shoto and Endeavor going after Shigaraki, but Endeavor's not going to be there at the end of that fight. Guarantee it.
Definitely.
Why do y'all think that Deku is actually using like the smoke screens and the presence of the public or the other heroes? Do you think it's because he don't want the main villains to know where he's at and he's just keeping a low profile, or he just don't want the public to know who's bringing in all these villains?
I think it's the second part. I think he's trying to maintain a low profile, especially with Shigaraki looking for him, especially since he has I can't remember the cat girl's quirk that lets her see everything and where people are. But I think he's trying to keep a low profile, and I think he's trying to demonstrate that there are heroes out there, but he doesn't want it to be essentially one person's the hero like All Might. Like he wants it to bring back hero society, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
It
I
does.
get
It
you.
does. And I think he has to conceal who he is because I mean he would just get attacked.
Yeah, definitely, man.
They'd run up on him really quick and the story would be over.
Oh, definitely, man.
And I really enjoyed the scene with Gran Torino and Deku talking to Deku when he tells him that sometimes in order to save someone you have to kill them. Don't forget that. Don't be stubborn. And he also gives him his yellow cape. Does this mean he's passing the torch on to Deku, kinda trusting him to find a way to stop Shigaraki and for him and Shimura?
Well, I was gonna say, I think that was Shimura's scarf
Yeah.
originally. So I thought that was awesome that he passed it off to Deku.
Yeah, and Deku's like wearing it. So I found that pretty interesting and pretty awesome, honestly. It seems like he's passing the torch to him. Like it's your responsibility now. Just remember though, sometimes in order to save them, you have to kill him, just like what Shimura was talking about when they was in the coma. So
Definitely.
For sure.
Awesome. Do you guys want to move on to our movie review?
Let's do it, man.
yeah.
Awesome. So this week we decided to watch Akira, which is a 1988 classic film. Basically, the point of it is the Japanese government drops an atomic bomb on Tokyo after ESP experiments on children go terribly wrong. In 2019, thank God this hasn't happened. 31 years after nuking the city, Kaneda, a bike leader, tries to save his friend Tetsuo from a secret government project, blah, 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 blah. There's a bunch of crazy anti-government activists, greedy politicians, very irresponsible scientists. And basically, it's just kind of a whole story about how Tetsuo is one of these ESP individuals. He's an esper, and he kind of just goes off the rails. So, what did you guys think about the movie? Did you guys enjoy the overall story of it?
Yeah, like I recently watched it just today, actually, this morning. And for me, the first opinions on it is that it started out really fast and intense, which I normally like. But in doing so, I felt like it did hurt my ability to figure out which character was which and what exactly was going on. I was a fan of it, but I just didn't really know what was going on. But that's fine, because around the 20-25 minute mark, once things started slowing down a little bit, you actually start figuring out who was who and also kind of what's going on. So they made up for it. Um, but the first part of it was, like I said, very intense and a lot of action. Like, I had a hard time trying to keep up with what was going on. What did y'all think about the
Yeah, I think it
beginning?
took to about the 25-minute mark for me to like really get into it because like you said, there was a lot of action to start off. I think it was trying at the time, I was like, okay, this has got to go somewhere like quickly, or I'm gonna need to come back to this.
Yeah.
But I think that what they were trying to illustrate was just how chaotic the society was. It was not well put together, and kind of just tell us, this world is doomed. No matter what, it's just not going well right now. But after we started getting some story by probably like the 40-minute mark, I started getting a little bit more into it.
We
But
actually started
overall,
figuring
I thought
out some names, so
right, instead of just cutting to a bunch of characters, people peeking around corners, and people getting shot. I was like, I don't know what any of this is. Like, what's going on right
why do
now?
I care if these people get shot, bro?
Exactly.
Like,
What
who
is
are
it? What does
they?
it even mean? Yeah.
What about you, Dan? What'd you think about it?
Yeah, I mean, I really enjoyed how fast paced it was at the beginning. I mean, it really just kind of sucks you, and you're like, "Holy shit, this again!" Right off the get go, like, "Oh, let's go, baby!" And I guess I have a knack for picking up character names pretty quick and kind of figuring out who is the main guy and who is not. And I mean, the focus on Tetsuo and Kaneda kind of continued through the film, but it was tough with some of the side characters and knowing if they were going to be relevant down the line. I mean, his biker gang buddies were there for the majority of it, but they didn't really have like major spot in the plot, I guess, you know?
Yeah, I initially thought Canada.
Yeah.
I'm not sure which one is. I'm just gonna say Canada. So
Kaneda.
yeah. I thought he was the main character, but it actually turns out that I think Tetsuo is actually the main character, is what it seems like after watching the whole movie. Do y'all agree?
It was kind of a duo
You
MC
think so?
role with it, where you had a protagonist and antagonist who came
Okay.
from a relationship at the beginning. I mean, Tetsuo is definitely the baddie in the movie,
Oh yeah.
but
Oh yeah.
it just kind of goes to show that how somebody who is looked at as the second person being given power can go to his head really quick, which is exactly what happened, you know?
Yeah.
Yes. Do you guys think he always had that like in him to do something like that, or do you think?
Well, he had to have, because
Yeah.
most of what came of that was because he was jealous of Canada, and also that he was tired. He was mad at being looked down upon and looked at as he was weak. So he had to been harboring them feelings for a while, and he actually finally was able to gain power and that's when it just went through the roof, you know?
Off the rails.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So he had to been harboring that shit for a while.
Oh
So
yeah, he had some pent up anger, obviously. Yeah, he didn't like getting saved from the lab, and how he was acting after that, even though he was in great pain. He didn't want anybody's help. It was
yeah.
hard to see. It was hard to see, you know.
Definitely. What did you guys think of the setting of the movie in Neo Tokyo? Did you guys like that?
I thought it was pretty great, actually. Having like a kind of a cyberpunk feel to it. Everything's just in pure chaos. I think it played into the setting, played into the plot very, very well.
Yeah, definitely. It reminded me of like LA and Blade Runner or like a cyberpunk Mad Max.
Yeah, I mean it was definitely definitely I actually liked it. I don't think they could have made it anywhere else besides like a big metro city type of deal and make the story as chaotic as they did. I don't think.
I agree with that. I agree with that. Um, is there anything that like bothered you guys about the film at all?
Yeah.
What was it for you?
Other than the entrance, you know, being very super fast paced and stuff like that, which, like I said, it did, after 20 to 25 minutes, it really didn't matter. Um, but the Frankenstein looking people, that bugged me. That scared me, honestly.
Are you talking the Espers?
The kids, yeah.
Yeah, I mean
Well,
that's because they've been pumped with drugs for the entirety of their lives. I mean, like they were getting
I
shot up with who knows what to contain their psychic powers to a degree, you know. So obviously
Mm.
that's gonna have some ample side effects, and sure enough, it looks like it did.
my question for like the Frankenstein kids is what I'm gonna call them. Do we think that they are actually not kids? Do we think that they was alive back in like 1988, the first when Akira was created the explosion or whatever?
I don't know if they were alive, but I think they're definitely older than what they appeared.
It kind of leads on that they are like older beings, but they're constantly called kids. So, but their faces look, like I said, older. It's like a greenish, older face. So it just reminds me of Frankenstein, honestly. And I'm just a little bit creeped out by it, to be honest.
The movie overall was kind of creepy.
That's the
Yeah.
point.
I mean, yeah, but
It's
like
very
I was not
dystopian.
expecting that.
Yeah, it's very dystopian, you know,
You had
like
like those big monster teddy bears and whatever. I was like, yo, what is really going on here?
uh, for me as well, I also didn't really care for the ending. I wanted to see more details about what actually happened when Akira took Tetsuya into the light. Like I wanted to know what happened after, kinda. I don't think they told us
no,
anything about it.
I actually think that's one of the beauties of the film is like it left it to mystery. I think I actually liked that. I don't, you know, it's kind of like it's a weird ending, but I think it fit the film, like the theme of the film, very well.
Like I watched the credits all the way through, hoping that there was an end scene and
Nah, this is
explaining a little bit
1988, man. None
more.
of that coming on.
But yeah, no, I completely understand what you're saying, Tyler. It just like stopped. The credits rolled. I did the same thing just to make sure, just because of how the movie ended. Um, and then I remember I was just laying on my couch like,
Like I
what
wanted
the
to see
fuck did I just
more.
watch?
I wanted to
That's the
see
point.
what happened, you know. But uh, do y'all want to see like a remake of this, like a modern day remake?
I think that would be good because when I actually looked into what the fuck I was watching, I had to get some answers, right? And what I found out was that this movie, although it does have an ending, was made in the middle of the manga. So
Hmm.
they got to like rift a little bit and kind of say, okay, how would we want this to end? They had to obviously be a lot more concise than what they could be. I mean, than what they wanted to be. They didn't really get to flesh out the characters like I was hearing it's in the manga. They didn't get really get to focus on the individual characters. But if it was like maybe two or three movies, I think they could do that. And I think I would like that just to have more answers, some more prominent characters, kind of like what people are saying the manga is.
Yeah, definitely. I think like a 6 or 7 episode like OVA where each episode is like, 45 minutes long or something like that'd be perfect, especially if it was animated in today's caliber. Like imagine if Mappa had a freaking run at this. Oh my god.
Yeah. Actually, I actually stumbled across a little something when I was doing a little bit of research for Akira. Uh, Apparently, back before COVID started, it actually had been announced that Studio Sunrise, which is got some big names under their belt like Cowboy Bebop, Gintama, Gundam, Code Geass, Inuyasha, and actually a lot more. They was actually working on a remake, a modern day remake of Akira, and also live action was being talked about, but like I said, this was before COVID, and there has been absolutely no news since then. And not sure if they canceled it or it's just been postponed or they're just having issues with jobs, etc., making it. I'm not sure what's going on, but I would actually love to see a remake of this modern day.
Yeah, Sunrise takes their sweet time with everything. Like they released a Gundam movie in 2019, and I think the second part is coming out potentially in 2026 or 2027. So they take their time. They've got a lot going on though. They do a lot of different shows, especially in the Gundam world. But yeah, I guess looking at it, I don't want to get too much into the plot in case people want to watch it. But how'd you guys like the big battle over the Olympiad?
Oh, I thought it was phenomenal. I mean, you had Canada fighting Tetsu, and then you had the government trying to, hop in the fight. You had um, Key trying to fight him too. It was just like a combination of everything that was going on. It was really fun to watch.
Bro,
Um,
it's always the scientists. The scientists always screw up everything, bro.
Oh, dude, it's government testing on espers. You know something's gonna go wrong, man.
Yeah,
yeah, sticking their
crazy.
nose where it doesn't belong. And as far as like a remake goes, they have to go all out on the animation. I was watching this and I was like, this was made in 1988. It was Disney level from the 80s or beyond that as far as like the amount of detail in the animation that was going on. I thought that was extremely impressive.
Imagine those last fights that we see animated in today's studios.
Throw a little CGI in there.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Especially from Sunrise, they've got a lot of good stuff going on. I don't think they would drop the ball. So
No.
Yeah. I thought the animation could still stand up for today, I mean,
Yeah,
you
I
could
was
tell it was
gonna.
older style, but it could still stand up.
Well, that's what I was gonna say. This is a 35-year-old movie, and it held my attention from start to finish, no problem. I'd never even thought about it being older. So I think it still stands up to the test of time, 100%.
and y'all was saying the fights at the end, that part, the last hour or so for me, it was actually like a 9 out of 10 rated. Yeah, I rated it like a 9 out of 10 probably the last hour or so because I was hooked and I actually wanted to see what was going to happen to Tetsuya and Canada and all the side characters that was coming into play and what actually happened at the end. Now the first hour or so, I would probably rate it more like a 7 out of 10. It was a little bit slower as far as plot goes. Um, it was more like I said, the first 30 minutes. It was pretty chaotic. That's probably why I rate. That's why I rate it so low. Honestly, is I just didn't understand what was going on until late. So
Yeah. I'd put the first half even lower than that for me.
yeah,
I don't like not knowing what the story is
That's a
30 minutes
movie,
into the
man.
movie.
yeah.
Look, man, just give me something. Yeah, give me something. Throw a boy a bone.
Hey, dude, chaos was part of the story, and they did
I
a
mean,
really good
that's
job
true. Like,
demonstrating that in the beginning. I
yeah,
mean,
And like
it
I said,
was
looking back, it done well, but
it did. Yeah, once I got the full story, I thought it was actually a really great movie. I was reading online that people were saying it was a masterpiece or maybe the best anime movie of all time. Not gonna
mm,
say I don't think it lived up to what a lot of people were saying. I think they were kind of riding nuts on that. But for me, the entire story, first half and second half put together, I'll probably give it like an 8, a solid 8. That's pretty good, I think. It's just that, like you said, the first hour kind of brought it down a little bit, but it got tied together pretty well.
yeah,
yeah. I mean, there's a lot of components they had introduced in that first 30 minutes. That's the tough part because I mean, what you have government, scientists, you have a rebel organization, you have bike gangs, like it's all over the place because the story is actually just all over the place.
Yeah.
And then it
Yep.
all comes together really well. I definitely give it a 9 out of 10. I mean, that's if you go to our good friends
Mhm.
over at Rotten Tomatoes, that's right about where they're sitting. They're sitting at the 90,
Yes.
90 out of 100. So I
Mhm.
oh
frankly, that's 100K plus reviews. So I think we're all in
yeah.
the pretty close to the same boat as the majority of the public on that one.
My overall is probably gonna be like a low 8 out of 10. I feel like that honestly, if they would have made it a little bit longer and just kind of explain or kind of threw in some information more in the first 30 minutes,
Just a little bit.
it would be probably closer to a 9 for me. But uh to be able to put all that they did into a 2-hour movie already, like that was crazy anyway. So
Yeah. Like I watched the first hour Friday night, and I honestly wasn't looking forward to the second hour when I watched it on a Saturday.
yeah, I mean,
But by
same
the
with
end of it,
me.
I was like, wow. I watched the first half with my sister, and she was like, "Yeah, that put me to sleep. It literally put her to sleep." Um,
It did me too. I watched the first 30 minutes and I had to take a nap just to finish
right.
it up. So
And then I watched the second half of it, and my sister asked me, she's like, "Did it get better?" Like, because she was
yeah,
looking at it
it really
online too, and I was
does.
like, "It really did." I was like, "I don't know if you're gonna watch like the whole thing, but it's like I think it's worth a watch." And that's what I'm gonna recommend, to our listeners as well. Is like it's if you have not seen it, I would definitely watch it.
Just power through the first 30 minutes, take a nap, do
And then
whatever you
you're
got to
good.
do.
Yeah.
It ain't that bad. You guys are exaggerating. You guys who need a story in the first episode, come on, man, let it build. Let it build.
My patience is not high.
That's the problem with these young folks that you
Oh
guys are.
no.
Oh my
I've
god,
got
I'm
the
older than
mentality of a
you.
50-year-old.
Okay, Dan.
But
Oh
awesome.
no.
No, so yeah, we didn't go into too much detail on it, but I think we gave you kind of the gist of what it is. Hope you guys want to check it out because it really is one of the best anime movies there is. I mean, it's right up there with stuff coming out of Studio Ghibli, in my opinion. So, but
Yeah,
yeah, if
I
you guys don't
enjoyed
have
it.
anything else to add, I think that's a review of Akira. Definitely recommend you check it out. And at that point, thanks for tuning in to episode 2 of the Anime Degens podcast. If you guys enjoyed listening, make sure to show us a little love and drop a follow on your favorite podcast platform, whether that's Apple, Spotify, Google Podcast, or others. Make sure to leave us a review if you enjoyed it and tell the other anime fans in your life. Lastly, to stay up to date with the Degens, make sure to click our link tree in the bio to follow us on Twitter, TikTok, and other platforms, as well as join the Discord. Again, we appreciate you hanging out with us and stay degenerate.